Hi, today I'd like to talk to you about clinical and five-path hypnotherapy. Now, hypnosis is a natural state that we are in and out of every day. It's nothing mystical at all. It's the state that you're in when you're driving down the highway and you miss your turn off. And we even call that highway hypnosis. What we know is it's a state of focused concentration. So when our concentration's focused in on one little thing, it means that the other things around us, we're not quite aware of them as much as we would be. It's the state you're in when you're on social media and time just flies by. Or perhaps you're watching a really good movie or you're reading a book and maybe your children have asked you for something and you don't even recall it, and later they say, yes, but you said that I could have this. So it's a natural state. We're in and out of every day. Now, primarily for the first 7 years, we live in that same brainwave pattern of alpha and theta brainwaves. And what this means, of course, is that we're very easy to program in those early years. In fact, they call it the imprint period. So when we're in that first 7 years of our life, this is when we learn about who we are. We take on all those beliefs, the core beliefs about who we are, what we deserve, what we're willing to put up with in life. And it's really just mirrored back from all the things that we're learning from our parents and our caregivers in those early years. And so that sets the stage for who we're going to be. The subconscious mind, then, as we go through those first 7 years, we start to have this barrier between the subconscious and the conscious, and it's called the critical faculty. Now, it's like a gateway. So I'm going to show you a picture of an iceberg, which I'm sure many of you have seen before. But the conscious mind is the little bit at the top, and yes, it's about 5 to 10% of your mind. The subconscious mind is below the surface. So those two parts of the brain don't really even talk to each other. And it means that you can be going through your life coming from subconscious programs that are just outmoded. You know, you might be 30 years of age and you're still working on a program from the first 7 years of your life about your core beliefs and what you're willing to put up with and you know, your self-esteem, all of those things. Now, the subconscious mind, it's like the right hemisphere of the brain, but it's the part that's driven by habits, but it's also the part that's driven by emotions. So that we get an emotion and then we react with a habit. Now, for some people that might be cigarette smoking, it might be eating chocolate or comfort eating. It might be distracting, like drinking, taking drugs, working, turning into a workaholic, gambling and spending money. They are all simple examples of addictive behavior that comes about as a way to distract from emotions. So as soon as you get the emotion, you hook back into the old habit. Now, as I said, the subconscious mind is like the bottom of the iceberg. It's 90 to 95%, and it's driven by emotions, and it's where the habits and patterns live. The conscious mind is really the 5 to 10% on top of that iceberg. And it's the rational cognitive part of you that's trying to work out why we need to make these changes and trying to implement things. And usually it's where your willpower really lives. Now, between the conscious and subconscious is the water level. We call this the critical faculty. And the critical faculty is like a gateway to the deeper depths of that mind. So it means that after the first 7 years, when we've been growing up, that program gets sort of fixated in that subconscious mind of our core beliefs. And then after the first 7 years, if more information filters through that says you're not good enough or whatever those belief systems are, the gate opens. You just say to yourself, I know this is the way it's always going to be because this is the way it's always been. And it makes it really hard to change those habits, because that gate opens up and it just backs up the information in your stores of memory and your subconscious belief system. Now, if information comes in that doesn't agree with the core beliefs, that gate will slam shut and you'll say to yourself, I really wish I could believe it, but so far I can't trust it. It's never worked out for me in the past. So we tend to go through our life with these little blinkers on, and we only see things that match our core belief that's based in the subconscious mind. Now, the real issue is that the conscious and subconscious don't talk to each other directly. So you've got not much chance of changing that 90 to 95% of the mind with the 5 to 10% of the conscious mind. But When we go into hypnosis, we're really just dropping those brainwaves back to the same level that they were programmed in, so that we can make rapid, permanent change. Now, with normal direct suggestion in normal hypnotherapy, what you'll find is those changes, they can be just as effective. However, they'll often wear off over time. With 5-path hypnosis, we don't want to just band-aid. We don't want to just put stuff in. We want to get the other crap out. Because what I know is that the majority of the work I do tends to be really more about what we let out of that mind rather than just what we're putting in. And if we can clear the core beliefs and put something better in its place, we start moving in a whole new direction. Now, I'm looking for my piece of paper. It's kind of like when we look at habits and patterns, we get a bad feeling and we tend to distract. This is called feelings indicator, and it comes from the book, from the 5-path hypnosis people that I train with, mainly in hypnosis in the US. And it comes from the book, The Secret Language of Feelings. Now, what we know is all our emotions are actually good for us. They're there to help us take better care of ourselves. Now, every emotion has a purpose from the subconscious mind. So anxiety means I don't feel safe. So of course your first priority is to feel safe. Loneliness means you've got a healthy desire for human contact. So that need is that you need to make contact. You need to call your friends or go visit somebody that'll be there for you. So sadness means something's missing. So you've got to check out your life and work out what's missing in your life and find a way to bring more of that back into your life. Angry means this is not fair. So of course your first priority is to make things fairer. Now, if we can't make things fairer, then in order for us to move on, we need to learn how to forgive and move on. And I don't mean forgive blindly. I mean find a way to let it go so that it no longer has an effect on you, so you can move on and be free with your life. Now, the other thing I've got on my list is guilt. And guilt just means you feel like you've done something wrong. And so our need is to make things fair and really maybe to learn how to apologize. So when we use the subconscious mind to do these things and make those changes, they have a really powerful effect because they're working in that 90 to 95% of your brain. So with 5-path hypnosis, it's an advanced hypnotherapy. 5-phase advanced transformational hypnotherapy is what those letters stand for. And it really does transform your life. Now, 5-path doesn't mean 5 sessions. It's generally about 3 sessions, and we'd have a follow-up about a month later to make sure everything sticks. So with the first session, we want to get a really good case history so I know how I can best serve you, what we're really dealing with. The issue is never really the issue. So even though you might think you know what it is you're working with, we won't really know till we get into the depths of the subconscious mind and ask the right questions. So the second session we do is really age regression, and that's really about bringing up the emotion. We want to use an abreaction form of regression. So we bring up the emotion you don't like. We're going to go all the way back to before you even had that. So if we can find that first initial sensitizing event, we can get rid of that emotion that's connected with it. When we get rid of the emotion, our behaviors change, you see, because we no longer have that thing that's driving that behavior we don't want. Now, the third session is really about getting rid of any anger, any guilt. So we want to mop up any other emotions that might be there. If we need another session, we're going to be doing, if we need another session, what we would do is we would work on parts mediation. So there are 5 phases: direct suggestion, age regression to cause, forgiveness of others, forgiveness of yourself, parts mediation. Now, we generally do the first session, the second session, the third session we combine forgiveness of others, forgiveness of ourselves. The fourth session, the parts mediation, we would only use if there was a part of you that was still resisting the change. And what we would do is then segregate and separate the psyche into the different parts of you, because every part of you is trying to do what it thinks is right. We can get some answers from those parts. We can get some congruence. Then the internal battle is over. You start moving forward and you start creating the life that you want for your dream, the life of your dreams, the life you want for yourself and for your loved ones. Now, we would generally do a session about a month later, because what we know is once we clear once we clear the top off, there'll be other things that can sometimes bubble up, and then generally one session is going to nip that in the bud and clear it. And so hypnosis is one of the fastest tools I know to really get to the bottom of things and clear it away. Now, there are other things I do as well. As many of you know, I'm a Reiki master and teacher, which I've been doing since 1999. And so that's a lot of years ago. And I've got over 700 students. I've been working in that field, doing Reiki on clients, and that's energy medicine work, and also running workshops so that I can empower others to have the same tools. I also do touch for health kinesiology, and so what we know is we've got energy flowing through our bodies and everything's connected. And if we've got, for example, issues in our bodies, physical pain, things like Reiki and kinesiology can really move those very quickly. And there's another technique I use called kinetic shift, which generally pulls that energy block right out of that physical body. Because you see, when we've got emotional stuff going on, it will cause a block in the flow of your energy field, in your aura, and in those energy meridians, which is Chinese medicine. When we start to clear those blockages away, the mind-body system comes back into harmony and balance, and speeds up the healing mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So hypnosis is one way to attack it from the emotional side first, which will then clear the emotional, the energetic, the physical blocks. And when we work with energy, we're just working from another angle. But they're all tools that I use in this business of mine to help people come back into wholeness and heal their lives. Now, not only do we do face-to-face sessions, but I do also work online. So if you don't live in Dubbo, we can do online sessions. And even right now, you're looking at me filming this through my little phone, my iPhone. And I have done work with people. I've got clients in Canada, in the US, in Perth, Brisbane, Sydney. I've got clients all over the place, and we find it works just as effectively. So if you're thinking about doing some online hypnosis, and I've actually got a lot of online sessions I've done on Facebook, for example, for my clients when we were going through COVID lockdown. And what you will find is that even using your phone, you can still get the same results. So if you're doing any online, what I recommend you do is get some earphones, and we'll often use things like Zoom or even Facebook Messenger, and in some cases we just use FaceTime. In fact, I had a fellow who was in Umanjuri recently, and he was on a farm, and he said, "Oh, I've got such bad hay fever," and he was actually coming to see me for something else, but he couldn't get here because he was in the middle of harvest. I said, "What if we just use your phone?" And when he opened his eyes, you know, at the start of the session, he said, "Look, my nose is dripping and I've got a headache and I've got this really bad hay fever. I don't even know if I can go." And I said, "Let's just see if we can clear it energetically." And what I did was actually just pull, and I know this looks crazy, but pull that energy block out of his body. And as he sat there, just talking to me, went, "Oh my God, my nose is dried up, my headache's gone." So we're kind of using quantum physics when we want to explain it, but we don't need to. All I know is some things we can't explain, but they work. So if you're getting ready to do an online session or a face-to-face, and you know you're doing it online, you want to make sure you're nice and comfortable, somewhere you're not going to be disturbed. If you're here in my office, you won't be disturbed, and we will just work till we clear whatever the problem is and get you back in charge of your own life. So I'm Carol Macrae. My office is in downtown Dubbo, and I love this work that I do because we get a chance to free people from the past programs that have held them back for such a long time. My main things I work with are things like anxiety, depression, pain, quit smoking, weight management, study, all sorts of things, sports performance and performance anxiety, and you name it. If it's got an emotion attached to it, we can work on it and we can clear it with hypnosis. So hope that's explained a lot more to you guys. And don't forget, you can just jump on, I don't know what's happening here, my phone just put up a little sign there, but you can jump on the buzzer and ring me and make an appointment, or you can just pop onto my website, which is just www.carolmacrae.com, and make an appointment, and let's just get in and make some changes in your life that are going to really change your future. So I hope that's been helpful. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Namaste, and enjoy our sessions that we're working with. I've got a lot on YouTube as well, so just jump in there and just take some time out for yourself. Thanks so much for listening, and hope that's been helpful. Have a beautiful day.